Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show tutorials on the pizza builder form using the React applications. So creating these applications I'm going to use a couple of the libraries. The first library which I'm going to use is a React Bootstrap where we can get a lot of component of the Bootstrap. And if you guys don't know what's a Bootstrap, it's a CSS framework. We will get a lot of components from there and we can implement it easily. And on the top of that, the React Bootstrap is a built specifically for a React developers, which we can take the advantage of a built-in component in our applications, such as like alerts, badges, breadcrumb, button, everything. And then on top of it, I'm going to use a Formik for a forms utilizations and validations, and that's all about it. And this is the all these applications looks like. So I'm going to show you what this application does at this time. So once I click the place order, it does the validation. So this applications actually this form is doing a two validation on the pizza builder form. The first is a size and crust, and this is a size and a crust, and these all are the optional field. And here we can see the JSON. So whenever we pick this small, then looks like our object has been changed. Here the size is small. So if I pick a Brooklyn style, that the cross has been a Brooklyn style. So the cheese is optional. If we want to make a pizza, then we can choose what style we want. We can choose what are the size of the pizza we want. So we want to make that a cheese. Yes, of course. Now we need to tell if the cheese, how much of cheese we want. The first thing is if we click the cheese checkbox, the cheese, then what we see is include is true, and we will see the value as a light if we pick as a light and normal. It does the same thing work with the sauce here. If we want the sauce, then now the current default value of the sauce is false. But if I click the false true here, now we can able to pick the what kind of sauce we want. So we'll pick the sauce here, and this is the topping, and this is a non-meat, and this both are optional, and both are created as array here. So if I pick the meat, then I can select the what are the meat we want to put in our pizza, and also for a non-meat, what are the non-meat that we want for our pizza, and it will add it as an array here. And this is a special instruction. This is optional too. If we make this a well done, then it will make as a well done. And if I click the place order, then it will do a form submission pod. So basically, I'm only going to build this for a front end perspective. So for this, all these validations are core, and this tool is using by the Formik, and all this form is binding with the using the Formik. Okay, and we all gonna build this on this tutorial. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for in VS Code terminal, and I'm going to install the React applications, which I already did. If you guys don't know how to install the React applications, then you can follow these instructions and it will install you the React applications. Okay, so once you have the React application has been installed, then you need to install a couple of dependencies. So now let me go back to the different branch. So when we install using this CLI, and if you need to install, of course, the node and the npm, it comes with it. When you install the node, then after that you will use this command to create a React application. So it will give us a boilerplate of the React applications. Looks like this. So this is the code. What is the boilerplate? What you guys see in the back here. So basically what we have is a app.js, and this is my app.js what this look like, and that's all about it. And this is the public, and this is my index.html. Okay, so what really happened is index.html is has a only one the ID called root, and in React basically in index.js it's the root is binding with the app component, and we have an app component here, and it's showing in the screen here in the back. That's all what is doing it. So another what we need to do now, we need to add the dependencies. So what are the dependencies? What we need here is the first thing is a Bootstrap and React Bootstrap. And to install this both dependencies, which I already installed on this application called React Tools here. So what you need to do is you need to go on this website, React Bootstrap websites here, and get started. And here is the npm install, and you can install from the node package manager. So you can do npm install React Node Bootstrap, and you will install a React Bootstrap and a Bootstrap here. So once you do this, now we need to install a Formik as well. So we need to go in this Formik websites, or you can also find in npm Node Package Manager there, or you can go in here, and here is the npm install and Formik. So once you added those two, the next step is you need to add the CSS for this as well. So if you go in this website and search for CSS, then you will see this, the CSS link for the Bootstrap, and you can literally add this on your CSS, or you can add this on your index.html. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add this on my CSS. So where is my CSS? The main CSS for this application is index.css right here. So I have already have a couple of code which comes with the boilerplate, but I don't want this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a add here and import this Bootstrap. So I'll just save it. So once I save it, and I don't even need this all this boilerplate code, so I'm going to remove everything and I'll just put here the test. So once I do this, so my React application will change and comes as a test. Okay. Okay, so once we have this, everything is set up. So what we really need to do is we need to build now the application. So first thing what we have is we have here uh, the the header, and we have a header and we have a body in the middle, right? So in the header we have something like a bluish color. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here and we're gonna grab a nav. So basically we don't need to type it all this component because this all the components is already been here and it has an example too. So we can literally can do a copy and paste, and we just can need to change and modify a little bit. Okay, so I'll just copy the nav, and for this nav, what we I'm going to make this little smaller here. So what we needed on this nav is basically is we don't need this all this nav. So we just need this, and we're going to change this to a pizza. I'll use h5 or h4. Okay, so now I will save it, and it looks like okay. Now we need to import, of course, a couple of these nav from the Bootstrap here. So once we import, save it. So now if I refresh this, or it looks like this. Okay, so once it looks like that, what we need is we don't need this on select. So I'm gonna remove this, and here we're gonna put some style, and the style of this is a background, and we're gonna put the color here. Color is 0. Basically this is going to be bluish color on a background there. So once I have this, if I need to refresh this, it doesn't do the color here because I misspelled the style. So now I have a color. So now I need the a white color here as well. So I'm going to copy this and put the style here. And instead of background, I need a color. And I'm going to put the a white color here. Okay, pizza builder form is looks good. So then now next step is we need a body here and we need the code. So if you guys don't know what's the code, so basically if I search for the this React Bootstrap, then this is how the code look like. So basically we just need this code here. We don't need this everything, but I'll just show you how it looks like. So if I go in bottom of this code, if I save it, and of course I need to import this code and save it, and here is a problem here, the button. We don't need this button, so I'll just remove it. So this is the code how it looks like at this point, and then here on the side. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna change a little bit here. Okay, so the first thing what we're gonna do is we don't need this image body everything, we just need a code, and I don't need this as well, and I need a container here. Container, and I'm gonna put this container there. In a container here, I'm gonna put a class name, and in the Bootstrap we can go for a padding like this. We need to import this container as well. Save it. Container here. Maybe I need to refresh it. Okay, here it is. So now I have a container here. I have a code, which is good. So now I'm gonna put some class name here, and this is basically going to be I want to put some shadow, large, and padding 4. Okay. So once I have this shadow on the code, so I will create a form. So this is going to be our form wrapper, and I need to import this as well from Bootstrap, and the code is already there. So on the form, inside the form is going to be row and call. basically row and call are the grid system, how the Bootstrap work, and this is exactly we just need to put a row and call on this React, so it will put their row and call here directly. Okay. So once I have this, so if you guys remember, I have here the left hand side, I have the pizza order form, and the right hand side, I have a summary, right? The JSON on the bottom and a button. So what we're gonna do here is call. So we're gonna do MD here. We're gonna make as a 8. In the grid system, it works as a 8 and 12. I'm not going to go on this Bootstrap grid system directly. So just gonna show you how it looks like now. So here, if I do a test, if I save it, then it looks like this, test and test. And I also put the shadow LG, that's why I can see a shadow here, which looks good. So, okay, so far so good. So now we need to create a form here on the left, and the right side, we have to create the summary. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create another component, and we're gonna uh, rename, not delete, rename components, and we're going to create a component called order form or order, and we're going to create another called summary. Okay, so in order and summary, I'm going to create it. Okay, so I have created our order and summary. So in order one, what we're going to do is we're going to create the component here, and I have installed the extension called ex extension redux something here, and this will help you to give us a lot of shortcut functions, such as now if we press a control and space, then we're gonna see the helper tool, and we will say the React component function component export, and this is the order component will be created. So I'll just copy and paste it here and just change this as a summary. So now what it really does is it does create a summary component here and the order component. So once I save it both of it, now I will go in my app the component and I will import that component which I created. So this is going to be order component here. So I'm going to use as a order component, and I need to import this order from the places which I created, and I'm going to use the import. It's on the order, right? So now I have the order component. So I'll go and paste it here for summary, and this is going to be exact same thing, but need to change this for the summary. Okay, once I've just create this, now this is how it looks like. Here is order and here is a summary. Okay, so now let's go in an order form and let's create the order. So the in order form, I am in the order component here. So the first thing what we need to do is let me do this as a React fragment. So what we do is React fragment here. So React fragment is just like a wrapper, it's just sitting there. And in a React fragment, we're going to create a code, and you can get a code from here definitely. The code has a body, right? Stuff like this. So I'll just copy this. Okay, so code. Of course, we need to import this code from Bootstrap here, and the body is here. Looks good. And the title is basically what we need is a size and Crust. Okay, once we have this, so now this is the text area here, and inside this, I don't want this text at all, so I can remove this text here. Or let me go to forms here and check and reduce. So here it is the form group is basically the container that is sitting for the forms, and here it's using a form as a form check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this form check, not switch this guy. This is what we need. So I'll just copy this. So what we have is we have form type, so it's going to definitely going to complain. So the type is going to be the radio. Sorry, it's not checkbox. It should be a radio here. So once I save this, okay, now we need to import a form here. It should be a form. So let's import this form and the button also. I don't want this button here. So now if I refresh, now it looks like this. Okay, looks okay. So once I put the form check and the form, so this is how it looks like. Of course, we want this level as a data, such as like the size stuff like this. The pizza has a size here because we're trying to create a size. So what we're gonna do here, so the first thing, let me do a class name here, and let me put some the padding here on a y-axis. So let's go a little bit down, maybe put a 3, right? So this is how the first checkbox look like on the radio button. So we're gonna repeat this. Okay, this is how it looks like. Let's go and let's add this everything inside the row and column. So we need our grid system here, and the column for this is going to be MD6, and inside this we need to import a row. We need to import a call. So inside this, what we need is we just need only one. So I'll just leave it as we need another one on the side here. So this is how it's going to be. I'm gonna put this data later on. So this is how the size of this pizzas will be. So now what we need is once we put this everything here, we need to also put some padding and margin. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put inside the div, and I'm going to, and if you guys know how to select this, is you need to put a control and D. Just select it and control and D. So it will select everything. So here what we do now is here we'll just, no, on the div here, sorry. So I'll just copy this div. How many div? Care of all the div. And here in the class name, I'll put some padding here because we need some point of maybe margin bottom 3. If I save it, looks like how it looks like. Okay, it looks like this. Looks good so far. So this is how the size and cross look like. So now let's go and build for the, so our size is ready. So now let's go and build for the cross. So here on the bottom, what we do is we do a horizontal line. We draw a horizontal line. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy exactly the same one because it's going to be also the radio button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. So now if I save it, it looks like this. Of course, we need to change this for the data. Okay. And when the cross is ready now, so the next step, what we need is we need the pizzas. We need the option, we need the cheese or stuff or not. So once we create this, so here once we create this code is done. This code is done. Of course, we can put this on different component, many more component inside it. We can do that, or we can do later on is instead of writing this all the static, I'm going to create an array and I'm going to loop this. But for now, I just want to see it as a visual perspective. I'm writing everything in a HTML format. So here what we want to do is we want to create another code, and if we, of course, we can copy the code directly from here, grabbing this. So I don't need this code here, and I don't need image, and I don't need the text for this one. I need a title. Of course, the title is going to be cheese. Okay, so once I put the cheese here, it looks like this. Need some padding or margin, basically, sorry, margin. Then we need some margin here. Let me see if I can write a margin directly here on our card. Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, here it is, margin here, shade up. Okay, so we have a cheese here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another checkbox here. So if you and search for the checkbox, and I don't need to search, actually it's inside the form and checks and radio right here. Here is a checkbox, how it's going to create it. So I'm going to grab one of it. So I'll just grab this one and here and go back to the order, my here, and just paste it. So once I paste it, so I'll just remove this type. It doesn't know what this type is coming from. So type is going to be here the checkbox. So I'll just save it. So once I save it, so it looks like, right, it looks like this here, default. So what we need on this default, right? So we need this on default is basically the cheese we need. But we want to put this the checkbox on the side of here. We're going to put this the form check inside the card title. Okay, and and we're going to make this as a display, and this is going to be flex, and save it. Once I save it, now it move up to here, and we don't need a label for this one. So if I do, then this is how it looks like. So now what we do is on here, we're gonna give class name, we're gonna put some margin here because it's really close to the title, which we don't want it. When I move a little bit side of the title, here it is. So now we need a drop down here as well. So how we're gonna create a drop down is basically form and select. Let me go for the forms directly here, and this will definitely have a form and select example. Where is it? It should be here. Here it is, select. So here is the example of it. So I'll just copy this example and I'll go here. And once I go to the code, now what I do below the title, I'll paste this and save it. And this is how it looks like. And this is exactly what we're looking for. So this is what we got. So here, of course, we need to provide what kind of cheese we want, such as like normal, just light, or extra. All right. So maybe if it's normal, then and here is a light, and here is extra. And yeah, we don't want this. So okay, we don't want this as well. So this is how it looks like, right? So which is fine. So now what we're gonna do is looks like our cheese is covering all the way on the side here. We want to make this 50-50 because we want to put the cheese here and sauce here. So what we do here, and this is the card, right? So what do? We copy this and we create a row and we create a call, okay? And we put inside the call here and we give the MD here 6. So now it will split as a 6 side here, which is good. So now we want exactly like this. So what we do, we just pasted another one on the bottom. So now is another cheese is here, but instead of cheese, we want a sauce. So for a sauce, if we want a sauce, then what kind of sauces we are offering? We're offering robust sauce, right? And we are offering ranch, and we are also offering something else too. I'm not gonna put that one for this, and required sauce. Okay, so now once we have this, looks good. Okay, perfect. So now the next step, what we want on the bottom is we want the meat. We want to pick the meat selection, right? So the first thing we want to put on meat selections, and the another one is non-meat. So this is the row for that one. So what we're gonna do now for a meat one, we need a card. So for this card, I'm going to copy exactly the same card what we have it here and paste it here. Maybe I can put a comment here. Of course, we can make this a different component. If you guys like it, you guys can do it easily. And here what we can do, and this is going to be our cheese and sauce. And we have another one on the bottom, and this bottom is going to be toppings. So here we want a non, oh sorry, the topping meat. Okay, so we want the meat topping here. We don't want this checkbox, and instead of this, oh yep, we need the checkbox. Where on the bottom here. But in the toppings also, when we get this, what we need to do here is we need a row because we are putting a couple of toppings there, and we need a call. We'll give the auto call for this one, so I'll just put a call with no any MD, SM, or SX stuff like this. So I'm just gonna put this. So now how it looks like, let's see. It looks like this. Looks good. So now we need a value now. So the value what we need is maybe this is going to be chicken, right? So I'll just put as a chicken here. I don't want this ID chicken here. Then let's see how it looks like. Okay, it doesn't give us the name. It should be a label, sorry. It should be a label here as a chicken. So as we can see a chicken here. So if I paste this chicken multiple times with a call here, so it looks like this. Okay, so we need a couple of the padding here because it looks little closer than what I'm expecting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put here the class name, margin margin top 3. Okay, maybe 4. Let's do 5. Oh, 5 is too big, I guess. Let's do 4. Okay, this is how the topping of the meat look like, what we have it. So we want a topping for non-meat, and basically it's the same process. Just copy and paste it, and just change the name as a non-topping. Okay, so once we have a non-topping topping, so the last thing what we need is we need a special instruction for here on the bottom. So I'll just copy the code because we need a code for that one too. So I'll just paste it, but I don't need this most office checkbox here. So what we need here is we need a title, and title is going to be the special, and this is special instruction title. Don't even need the style. We need here the text area. So we'll search here as a text area. If you guys see it here, it's fine. Otherwise, we can do a text area, and this is what we need. So you want to put as a floating, you can put a multiple here, but we don't want as a floating. I want a regular one. So here it is. I think the form control as. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. So once I paste it here, it looks like this. It will also tell me the how high you want to put it. So I'll just leave it like this. The auto one looks, and I don't want this placeholder at all. Okay, this is how it looks like at the end. So now we want to take care of the summary part. So this is the order is complete. Of course, we need to bind with the using a Formik. So here in the summary part, what we're gonna do. Okay, in the summary part, the first thing we need a code. So I'll just go and grab this code. So no need to type it in summary here. Code, and also need to import this code. Okay, so I don't need this width, and I need some image of the pizza, which I'm going to put it here. So now let's search for a pizza on plus image. So I'll just go in on plus image, and I'll just search about the pizza here. Any picture is fine. uh, okay, I'll grab this, right click, and here grab this URL, go back to the form here, and here just need to put this source here, just put this link here. Card is good. Now it doesn't know where the button is, so I'll just remove this button. So this is how it looks like. If I refresh, well, this is how it looks like. Pretty cool. Almost there. Almost the form is going to be complete. So this is how it looks like. The image is here. The core body, what we have it is here. So on the bottom here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna print a JSON here. That's all about it, I think. And here the core text, we're gonna print a JSON here. And yeah, and then we need a button on the bottom. Of course, we need I removed the button before, but we need a button. Okay, and the button is going to be a place order. Of course, it doesn't calculate the price stuff at this point. It just pick these guys, the forms level, but we can definitely calculate the price. If you guys want to watch the calculating the price, please let me know. I'm going to create another video for calculating a price as well. Okay, so let me do as a place order here. Okay, looks good. Let me change this the color for this. So we can use something called variant here, and this is going to be a danger. So we will get it, and then let me do as a type as a submit here. Okay, so now the place order. This is good, and this is good. Okay, and here on a text here, what we're gonna do is inside this, instead of this text here, we're going to use a pre, because we're going to print a JSON here, and let's see how the JSON going to be print here later on. Okay, looks good. Okay, so our form is ready. looks like. Yep, our form is ready pretty much. Pretty much our form is ready. The things which I don't little doesn't like is about the code on the special instruction here. Maybe if we remove the code, it might look a little better, maybe. But anyway, this is how the form look like now. So we're gonna use the Formik here. Okay. So now let's use the Formik. So if you guys see the structure of our file is basically in app.js, what we have is order and we have a summary, and this is the component, different component. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the form here because the main form is here. So when we submit our form, then here we will trigger the event on submit and JavaScript. So this is the form and this is a summary. And we will have a button here, but we have the forms here. So both is coming inside the form. That's why we create a form here. Okay. So now here what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a Formik for this one. So we will use a use Formik here functions. And on this use Formik, so now we will create the initial values. What would be the initial values would be, right? So the first thing what we have in the pizza is we have a size. And the next is we have a crust. How many crust we want? What type of crust you want? And we have a cheese, right? And cheese we have, you want to include this cheese or not? Yes or no, right? The first thing, the default is false because we don't have, it's not picked up, it's not checked in. And we will put a value. If we check, then what kind of value we want. And then now in the next is sauce, as you see sauce. What sauce you want, right? So in a sauce, also same thing, same process. You wanna this one as a cheese, so I'll just copy and paste it. That's it. So we have another one called topping, and this is for meat, and this is the array. And another what we have is a topping for non-meat, and this is also an array. And we have a special instruction which is provided for this one. So we have a special instruction and this is for the empty array. So this is our initial values for our Formik one. So when we create our user Formik, and this is coming from Formik here, so this will what we provided. And what we have it here is we will also get a Formik here. So I'll just paste this Formik. So now what we're gonna do is whenever it's on submit, right? Whenever it's on submit, then it's going to trigger this function. Okay, it's going to trigger this function, this one, and we'll get a values as well. Values and some this Formik also provide a validate, and then we'll put a validate. So what is a validate? So we're going to create a validate here on the top of it. So this is going to be our validation. All of basically we have two validation in our application, but this is going to be what we have validated, but we're going to do that later on. So once our Formik is ready, everything is set up is ready. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this on our form level right here. So what we do is when it's on submit is a standard JavaScript. So we can use a Formik, and Formik has a function called handler submit. So we'll just bind with the handler submit. That's all. And we need to pass this Formik on this other one because order and summary, because order has a form and summary has a button, right? So we'll pass this. We'll pass it as a props. So we're gonna pass it as a props here. So once you pass this as a props, then in other one you can easily can get it here, right? Props. So you will get it as a Formik as a props. So now let's see, is there any error on the form level or not? Okay, we don't have any error here, but we can see here the JSON here. So now let's go to the first in a summary and let's print a JSON. Okay, let's create this as a Formik as well here. Formik and props. Okay, and in this Formik, what we do here, we do a Formik dot values, and we will definitely need to print this as a JSON dot stringify, and we'll put inside it, and we'll organize a little better, null and 2. So once I do it now, so now let's see how okay, we already see the JSON, guys. Looks good, looks good. We already see the JSON here. We don't need this. So we already see our JSON here, So now what we're gonna do is, yes, when we pick this, then it should change as well using the forming, and when we place the order, it should submit the form or do a validations. Okay. So the button is here, we pass it, perfect, fine. So now let's go here in app and let's create, sorry, in order, and let's bind this with the Formik. Okay, so before I bind with the Formik here, the first thing is what we see here, we don't have a correct data, right? We don't have a correct size, we don't have the cross stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the GitHub, my GitHub, and I'm going to grab this data, order form, and here I'm going to grab all this data. So I'm not going to type this data at all. Okay, so so basically what I have it here is I already created the pizza. Let's do a pizza size. Maybe I can do size here instead of pizza, whatever the big name. So we have a size data here, label, description, and values, and there's 10, 12 inch, 14, and 16. And this is a pizza size. And here we have a cross, and we have here the style, right? What style we need. And here's the style, description, and the values. What will be us if we pick it, then what would be the value of it? Similarly, this is what we have in the meat, and this is what we have in non-meat. So we have a data here already. So now what we need to do, we need to put this on dynamically in our component here. So the first thing what we have is, that's why I didn't put the all this component here, put a random data before, because I want to put this from this data. So the first thing what we need to loop is we need to get this the size, right? So we have a 6 call here. This is the one. So we just need only one. Just want to make sure it show up. Yep, it show up only one. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna loop this guy. So here we have a data called p size. Sorry, it's size, right? Size, and we're gonna map this. And inside the map, we're gonna put this form. That's it. So okay, once we put this map, then it's gonna put as a 6, a 4. Yep, there's a 4 size. That's why it's gonna show up the 4 size. Uh, I need to put inside the call. Sorry, guys. That's why I was like, yeah, I need to put inside this call here. Beside, actually, this call doesn't even need it. There's 2 call here. So I'm gonna put inside here. Sorry, I was putting on the wrong side. Let me correct this. Okay, okay, okay. Now it looks good. Now it looks good. Okay, so now I need to bind this. I don't need an ID. So the label, I have it already on my data. It's called label. Yep. If I save the label, so now I see the label, right? So what I need, another one, is the value. So I need a value, dot value. So the value is already been set up. It's not going to show up, but it's already show up. And the next is what we need is the name of this. So this is going to be size. Name of this checkbox, and this is going to be size. And the type is of course the radio. Now we need to bind. We need to bind with onChange function. Now we need to bind with the onChange with the Formik one, right? Because we already got the Formik from our props, so we can get a handle change on this uh, radio button, and we're gonna do we don't need to do a blur. I think we're gonna only do on change here is fine. So now if I save it, so how it looks like, if I save this, click the size, so we already see the difference here. The size is small. If I click the medium, large, it's already binding. Perfect. So now we're gonna do the exact same thing for this guy on the bottom, which is cross. So I'm going to copy this size, go a little bit on the bottom, this guy, call 6, too many call 6 here, paste it here. So instead of size, we have data called cross. Let me check what is the array called. Cross, yeah. So if I go here, yeah, cross, and it's exactly the same one, I believe. Let me check the cross data. Oh, it has a description too. Oh, I didn't put the description here on the bottom, it was a little different. Let me put the description here. Where is it? Here. Let me put the class name and put the description. Okay, it looks like this. So let's do this 6 to 12. So we will see as in the line here, straight lines, looks good. Okay, so we have a size, we have a crust, and if I pick the crust, now crust will, oh, the size will change now because we copied this from size here. So we need to put this name as a crust, right? This name will be identified that which of the property will be changed. If I click it as a crust now, sorry, the pick is as a size. Looks like now it still is missing something. Let's see what is missing here. The name is crust there, which is good. And I'm in a radio button, right? So if I refresh it, if I pick this here, looks good. If I pick it here, okay, here on the bottom, I think the crust spelling is misspelled here. It should be a, yep, it should be a CRUST, but I misspell on the bottom. So let's go and change it to fix this. Where is it? Okay, so now if I change it, then yep, it's changing right here. So now we need to make this as a checkbox for a cheese one. So what we're gonna do, it's pretty straightforward, right? So we're gonna use this unchanged name, value, and the label, right? So we go on the cheese one here. We don't need the ID. So basically, what we're gonna do, we're gonna bind the forming handle change, and this is going to be cheese dot. Now what we have is cheese. We have a we don't have cheese dot include. So what we can do, cheese dot includes, right? So we can do the cheese dot includes on the bottom here. Yep, and we don't need this label and the values. So we just do this, and here on the select one also as well. Instead of cheese dot includes, we just cheese dot value. We have a value here and unchanged and just save it. So now let's see, it's the cheese is the things what I found is looks like there is a misspell on the app.js here. So I'll just put as a cheese now. So I changed the name on our app.js here. I misspell it. So when I put now cheese.include and once I save it and if I refresh this, then if I click the cheese here, then it's going to change as true and it's going to pick as a false. This is also need to be hide and show, which we need to do it. And let's do it right now. So what we do is this guy. So if this Formik, right, will give us the something called values and we have this as a cheese and if the cheese includes true, right, then we want to say show this. If it's not showing something nothing, then we'll just do false. So now what happened to cheese, it's disappear. If I click it now it show up and if I pick it, it should change this as light, extra, and normal, and it disappear. Okay, that's good so far. So now basically we need to do exact same thing for the other one. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. Oh no, yeah, yeah, I can paste it. You know what, instead of copy, let me check what I can do it here. uh yes, let me don't do copy and paste because I might need to type a little bit more. So I'll just go on this name and unchange function when we need it. We want to put this on a cheese what we have it. So we will put it directly here on the sauce. So cheese, instead of cheese, we will put here as a sauce, S-A-U-C, sauce, and this is fine. And here on form and select here, I'm going to put this guy and here. Okay, so we can put it here now. So what we can do is I can copy this form and select, and I will put it here. Okay, so once I put it here, so now here the forming the value is cheese. Instead of cheese, what we want is we want the sauce here. So if the value sauce includes true, then we want to show this. Otherwise, we don't want to show it. It's straightforward. Click it here, show it, show off. Right. And if it's a little closer, we can also put a margin and padding here. such as like if it's pretty close here, the form select, we can do here the margin y-axis 2, and yeah, we can put a margin on here as well. And yep, also we need to provide the form on change here as well. Forming handle change, and the name of this should be source includes. I just put source includes here. Yep, it should be here. It should be source value. Here should be cheese value. So what do we have? Source value. Let's see it's binding or not. So if I change source, it's changing here. If I changes the value, it changes here. If I refresh, and we don't have a value here at all, true, true, and yeah, we change the value here. It looks good. Okay, I'm gonna copy the values here. So on the values here, the default should be this if it's true, and default of the other one should be on normal. Okay, so put this here. Okay, so far what we have now, we need to bind also a meet. It's pretty going to be a long video, guys, but I'll try to, yeah. So this is going to be our meet section for toppings. So we have also a data. I have also created a data here. Size and meat and non-meat. Okay, so I'm going to loop this. No need this everything. And here what we need a meat dot map. And we will put this here. And we need to change this couple of things, of course, here. So what we're going to do is a checkbox. Oh, this is topping meat. This is non-meat. Oh, I put the wrong one. This is non-meat. And yeah, it's going to be exact same for this guy. So I'll just paste it here. Okay. So now what we need, this is a checkbox too. So if it's checkbox, then we can grab this, the change, unchange, and a name. So here what we need is we don't need label. Okay, yeah, it got a label as well. So we don't want the label here. We want the name unchange. And I believe I have a labels here. Of course, it should be, it has a label and value, right? So what we do is, where is it? It should be, this is non-meat sauce. This is, nope, this is topping here. So what we have is a name. What we have is, we're gonna print loop this, and we will have a label and a value. And this is going to be name. Sorry, the name is not going to be this. The value is going to be d dot value, and the other one, the label, is going to be d dot label, and the name is going to be meat, or sorry, not meat, topping meat. So once I have this, copy this and put it for here, and change this topping meat to topping non-meat. So now here how it looks like. Did I do non-meat? Yeah, I do non-meat, and yeah, I need to do meat here. Meat. So if I refer, yeah, it looks like this now. So if I click it here, it will add it in my array. Looks good so far. Same with the toppings. So the final one is the here text area. In text area, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use whenever it is on change, then we're gonna do a forming handle change function. It's already a text area, so what we're gonna do is, I mean, we can also use the name value stuff, or we can also use another way on the Formik. where we can able to use this function specifically for text area input and select. I think for select too, we're going to use this spread operator with the field props function. And now we need to provide here the name of this, what we provide here, special instruction here. So once we use this function, then it will also, we can also, it easily can bind with this too. If I change it, okay, it doesn't bind it. Let me check what's going on here. Maybe it doesn't refresh. Yep, it doesn't refresh. So now it's binding here, as you guys can see. If I change it, yep, and cheese looks good. Perfect. Everything is perfectly binding. Now what we really need is to validate. We can do a validation in a couple of things here, but let's do on this two only for this time, okay? So now what we're gonna do, it doesn't do calculate the cost at this time, but you guys can make it. But if you want to know how to calculate, please let me know. I will work on that one. So the things what we need now is to validate. So if you guys check on this Formik, this I have created something called validate at the beginning. So here we will get the values and we can create the error object here. If the values dot, and the first thing what we have is a size, right? If the values as size is not picked up, right? Then what we do is value the size, we'll say is required, right? Require size. We're gonna say require size and we need to return these errors. Oh, we sorry, not value the size, error the size, because we are overriding this object with this one size here. So now we can return the errors. So once this validation one we write it, so now we need to implement this in a form label, and our form label is an order here, and this is the what we have is our order. So on this one, it has already the checkbox, sorry, the radio button there, right? What we can do in the Bootstrap now is we can use invalid. Basically, it will just give you as a class there. It will just give a class. And invalid, what we can do is if this Formik, right? This Formik dot, we can use a error. Formik dot errors of the size. The size has something, and if the Formik dot error, not error, form dot its touch dot size, then we're going to put this as a red color there. And also what we're going to do is we want to print the error dot size. We're going to do exactly the same one. If there is something is error or it's been touch, right, then we want to allot it, or we want to say that allot has a Java, it's a similar with the I'm going to show you what the allot is on this Bootstrap. So on the variant we do as a danger, and we want to print the message here, basically the message which we put it on error the size, basically here require size, it will show up. Okay, we need to import this a lot. It's complaint here in the back. Okay, so far so good. Let's save this, and now this is what it look like. So if I place the order, if I refresh, if I place the order, now it's give me the error here, require size. If I click the size, if I place the order, it will not give it. So this is how the validation work. So yeah, if we want to put a more validation here, instead of size, we can put a validation on any of this field. If you want the user to pick the cross here, I'll just change this across and require cross. That's it. So if I go back now in order, component, and we need to put this is invalid right here and copy this and we'll put right here, of course. And we need to change the cross here. Instead of this all the size, the cross is here, so select all the size, change to cross. That's it, the validation is ready. Once we create once, then it's pretty easy to create another one. If I save it, place the order, then it doesn't allow it. How we know? If I go in summary, not in summary, sorry, in app.js, and let's say when you submit, right, then we want to allot it the values json.stringify. If I submit, then it doesn't work because we need it tell me to pick this. If I submit now, it does the values, it does the form submit. Of course, everything is binding perfectly fine and everything is working perfectly fine. And we can also put this in validation if we like it. Otherwise, it's working perfectly fine. And that's all for this video, guys. I know it's pretty long video, and I'm gonna put this code on GitHub, and please let me know if you guys have any questions. And thank you very much for watching, guys, and please do subscribe if you guys learn something new. And thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.